No more running away from the rep, baby. This has been my main since day one. Time to shine. Except, and we're just gonna like quest. Fuck it.
You ever heard of the Shimmering Flats? It's a stretch of salt flats way over in Kalimdor,
Why the
just south of the Thousand Needles Canyon. It's a great place for racing because, well, it's so flat. A couple of known brothers are out there, friends of mine, trying out their new rocking car. And from what I hear, it's fast. So fast that their pilots keep crashing, giving themselves concussions. So they asked me for some siege engine helmets, but I have duties here. I can't make the trip. Can you?
Use the water logged envelope. I don't have it. Is it in my fucking bank? I need to go to the auction house anyways. Collect life fruits and king's blood.
What's on your mind?
Nothing in the bank. Waterlogged envelope. Gotta Google this shit. Wrathy Highlands. Damn.
Wildhammer dwarves might have fast steeds, but can those airy pink griffins stand the heat of the Great Forge? I think not. The Wildhammer dwarves might have fast steeds, but can those airy pink griffins stand the heat of the Great Forge? I think not.
Nice, love you. Oh, there's another Tasos sign in the audience.
All right.
I love
Thank
this.
you much, guys. Very appreciated. He's thinking about
He's
Tasos
thinking about
as his mind is exploding.
Yeah, we can read sign language. What was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, we had this crazy dramatic long game in game 1, and then game 2, it's like a really intense pressure game where they're both just trying to go at each other's throats at the start, and, you know, eventually it's Mind coming back on top, tying this out 1-1.
Yeah, this is such a great series so far, and really I find all the games have been very back and forth. It did feel like JYJ was certainly winning that at the beginning, and then Mind fights back and ends up taking it that time. I think once you do have any sort of substantial lead on that map, though, it's going to end quickly. Whereas the next map we're going into, it's going to have a bit more play. We're going into Sylphid for map 3. And yeah, Sylphid it's small, but it's very wide open in the center, so definitely allows more unit movement.
So I don't think we're going to actually have any break. I think we're going to go right into this. Totally packed, by the way, at the studio at Jomsil. This is the Afrika Coliseum. I think a fitting name with our giant screen coliseums in the middle. This is just by Lotte Tower. It's the 5th biggest building in the world. #1 biggest building in Korea. It is quite a sight to see. A little tricky to find. It is by Lotte World, but our studio is kind of hidden in the back. You're going to walk around and think you're in the wrong spot, and then you're suddenly going to walk into a giant esports arena. Definitely worth checking out, as it's going to be a regular location for esports events for this and other events for Afrika TV in the future.
That's right. It's a great studio, and it's great to see so many fans showing up. Here we go. Set number 3 on Sylphid, tied up 1-1.
Test.
Starting out on the bottom right, it's Mind. And on the left side, it's JYJ. So positionally, this favors Mind a little bit, since he can kind of attack very quickly and keep pressure on while perhaps dropping into the back. But not the first thing that we have to worry about, right? The game has to get, you know, after 2 bases and teching up the starport to really have that situation come into play. But definitely on this map, vultures are very, very strong. You really want to gain map control here.
Yeah, and with just one starting location that you both don't have, since it's a 3-player map, controlling that, setting up, and managing that is important. You know, there's a lot of room in the middle to try to move around. Mineral expansions just don't have the same kind of value. Is that right, Artosis? In TVT?
Oh yeah, mineral expansions are almost meaningless in TVT. It's like you can take a mineral base as your 3rd, and it's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay because you're going to still be making a ton of vultures at that point, and then that'll fuel your 4th base. But if you don't take it as your 3rd, you generally ignore them until the end of the game.
Yeah, makes sense. So then you have these pocketed bases. There's 3 of them, each one outside of your main. Not easy to get to by ground, but it's close by air. And then you have these 3 bases that are in the middle that are very pushable and don't have the greatest amount of resources there, but they're easy to take. And then there's, of course, the other main base and its natural expansion.
Yeah, and you know, those central bases are so easy to siege if you have map control that you can definitely take it, but you want to try to defend from outside if you can, because you're trying to move around because it's kind of like very like, look at it, it's jagged terrain. It's hard to move your tanks in there, get them into position, whereas your opponent outside can just suddenly move up and siege the command center. So, yeah, having central map control is the most important thing to do on Sylph, and it really makes a huge difference, especially on a 3-player map. This map cannot be split. So map control literally dominates everything. You know, on Vermeer we saw it's like, okay, well, maybe slight map control for JYJ, but then Mind still splits the map enough he gets a lot of bases. That can't be done here.
I got a quick question for you, Artosis. This is kind of a personal curiosity question, but I saw the SCV come in there, and it's scouted that there was one SCV mining gas, and it comes back out. Is there ever a trick where you just mine 3 gas and do something aggressive? Because I know that's a thing in TVP.
Yeah. You can. Well, first off, you always have to make sure you only have one SCV mining when the SCV comes in to scout, because if you have even 2, like you know, alarms go off. You're super defensive at that point. You know that something's up. But yeah, once it leaves, you can throw SCVs back on and do something like a 2-factory play. You're going to generally base that off of SCV health and how many Marines you have. Because like if it's a healthy SCV, you can't block the scout on the command center.
Interesting. Yeah, there's always these little mind games. We don't get to explore it that much in ASL because they're not always using these little tricks to try to come out and get ahead or kind of give some false intel. So we've got the Vulture here from Mind coming up. It is going to get the confirmation that there is a command center being made over here, and it will also get the kill on the SCV.
And yeah, this is super important that he sent the first one. If he hadn't sent this, JYJ would actually take quite an advantage here. But he sees that it's a siege tank first, which is going to allow him to fix his build-up. Sometimes you go siege tank into Wraith, and sometimes you go siege tank into a siege tank Vulture push, which can be really, really strong. Oh my god, he gets so much done here with the Vultures, and he's gonna get out. Are you kidding me?
This is insane. He saves the Vulture, literally 1 HP. Oh my god. That's crazy to me. And, you know, that's a very, very unusual exchange to have happen. You know, normally you're giving up a little bit by having the Vulture, and then you're going to trade it out. And it's funny, too, because JYJ tried to hide the Marine. Like, he very intentionally slid that over to the corner. In kind of a place maybe the Vulture wouldn't go. The tank is now going to come across the map in a counter move. But we have a tank here for Mind. I feel like Mind has exactly what he needs, right?
He has exactly what he needs because he sent that first Vulture in. If he had not, if he thought, well, it'll just be met by a Vulture and maybe I'll lose it, and he doesn't go, then JYJ would probably have an advantage. But Mind very, very smartly has figured out what's going on. I think he's going to have Mines in a second here. I believe that's the upgrade he was getting. But look at this, diving on this siege tank, and there you go. He does start to lay a few mines to make sure that the tank is not going to be able to kill him or anything. In the meantime, JYJ is making more factories at home, so he is switching into Vulture from here.
Artosis!
This is crazy.
Oh my god, they're so low. Artosis, oh my god, I can't do this. Oh my god, why is everything just barely not dying? Now he's gonna come back, he does take out both tanks.
Dude. I can't believe that. I thought for sure JYJ was going to finally get away, but there's so many little terrain tricks that you need to utilize here to try to retreat. And Mind did a great job chasing those down, getting 2 tanks for the price of 1.
Oh my god, that was insane. 3 factories again here for Mind, by the way. His Vulture speed's done. You don't normally see tanks dying in these high numbers like this. Oh my god, he's just gonna come through. Oh my god.
This is craziness right now. There are 3 factories on both sides. He will end up holding this, but I'm worried. You know, JYJ is gonna be able to rate some more SCVs here. Not sure how close his mines are to finishing, but he might be able to lock those tanks into the base of Mind. You know, Mind gained the advantage killing the 2 tanks, then getting 2 of his own because it just skews those Vulture fights so heavily. But if JYJ gets more vultures and has the mines, yeah, I think, did he just, yeah, he's laying mines now. So if Mind runs into these, I mean, he's just trading his tanks right back out.
Oh my God, what is happening? This is such a weird back and forth.
Yeah, both of them really want to get that huge edge, and they're losing their early siege tanks. So it's really turning into almost a pure vulture war, but JYJ has a few more.
These tanks are like two Home Alone burglars fighting each other, but falling into each other's traps. Like, it's crazy. I've seen so many tanks killed off so early. It's just such a rare thing. JYJ got to come out, I think, slightly ahead. He can kind of ignore the tank and just try to fight wherever the tank can't reach him, which is exactly what he's doing. He bobs and weaves and gets back out.
It is what he's trying to do. Mind is still kind of dancing around the center, though.
Am I fucked?
Look at that barracks placement.
I've never been here, so I don't.
Rallying of one of those factories for now. Do anything you can. Mind has actually gone up to 4 factories, so he should
do I get out of here?
Get ahead as far as that vulture count goes.
A lot of the ideas here from Mind are actually pretty similar to Game 2. It's a different map, but he's playing a lot of the same games there. He wants to try to power across the map and basically set up a position where maybe he can start to entomb JYJ into his base and force JYJ into drops.
Man, if you ever can entomb them that quickly where they have to go drops on 2 bases, that's almost the victory in and of itself, right? It becomes very predictable what's occurring there. But right now, JYJ does have more mines on the map, and we saw Mind was actually adding a second add-on. So it looks like he wants to go into more heavy siege tank production at this point, but still keep up reasonable vulture counts.
So, you know, with the 4 factories continuing to crank out a lot of units here, I don't know that either side can really attack into each other. There's enough mines laid out. Is there any actual units in the middle of the map, by the way, for JYJ, or is that all just spider mines?
Oh, I don't think he has anything but vultures out there. I think his first tank actually, well, not his first tank. He opened with 2 tanks, but
like
his only tank in the game just popped out.
Okay, got it. Well, Mind is going to start to come up here. Remember that, you know, I said this earlier, the vultures don't set off mines, but they can take damage from mines. So if the tank can draw a mine out and the vultures are there, they can still be killed by it. Now, JYJ is going to run around. I love the 3 vulture tactic because it's just enough to one-shot an SCV, which can be just a devastating amount of damage. We see he's going to get every SCV at this base. And again, 2 base versus 2 base, that's a pretty big little victory there for JYJ.
Yeah, that's every SCV you get is totally valuable, but right now there's a more forward position from Mind. There's a lot of mines from both players in this area, which you have to be really careful. It's kind of funny to see, right? They're all sieged up, like there's all these mines and everything. I think Mind is pulling back slightly, which he probably should. Just looking at the mini-map, it looks like JYJ does control that area, Spider-Mine-wise at least.
Yeah, he's cleared the mines over here. He's going to try to slice into this position. There are 2 tanks to meet this. This is actually a pretty narrow area to move units through. This kind of high ground.
This is so troll, man. Where the fuck am I supposed to go?
Actually, no, that's not even high ground, right? That's actually just the same height. But it looks like it's a high ground because there's an area that you have to. It's hard to explain. You have to get up into the right spot on here to be here. You can't access it from any area. So it's like a high ground area that doesn't have a chance to miss. I guess I'll put it like that.
Yeah, it's not technically high ground. You can see into it, no chance to miss anything like that. So, you know, not a super advantage, just you can't really be flanked. But that's such a powerful location he took. This is why I was saying his position, spawn position on the map is slightly favored. Because now that he holds there, he has the potential to push into the natural, but also, if he gets a dropship, he may be able to start ferrying units into the main base of JYJ.
So, yeah, that's a very good point, actually. You know, in so many matchups, the giant, massive starting location you get, the main base is so big, it's so tempting to drop in there, especially like recalls or overlord drops or even mass vulture Goliath tank drops. It's all very tempting. Now, Mind's gotten up here. He hasn't cut off circulation. I think he would like to do that ideally. I don't see very much protecting these tanks. I think he might be able to just run up and plant mines. He's getting his tanks further and further in.
I can't use that item.
A great push coming forward. JYJ does reinforce with 3 siege tanks of his own, some vultures and goliaths coming as well. So he will continue to hold on to this area, but he is getting choked a little bit. You have to be careful with where you set your rally at this point. Honestly, I think JYJ needs to deal with this. I think he needs to get rid of everything in that area and just make sure that this is not a problem anymore.
Yeah, well, Mind was trying to do what he wanted to do, which was to cut off that location, but he might have actually had to fight too hard, and maybe he lost too much in the process. JYJ up a base, but Mind is actually about to land his 3rd command center.
Yeah, that 3rd command center, obviously the location he's taking may be easier to defend and everything there, but not as valuable as where JYJ has taken up towards the top left of the map. That's like a full expansion, right, and one of the only 3 high ground locations that there are.
Yeah, it's just an expansion that JYJ probably can't get in. I'm sorry, Mind probably can't get in, so JYJ is going to feel very safe there for a long time. That being said, Mind has planted mines over at the 3rd base that mirrors the position that JYJ has taken. But I agree with you, Artosis. JYJ has the better, superior expansion. But Mind does have more middle control here.
Yeah. The movement that Mind has displayed, I think, is outdoing JYJ a little bit, but JYJ's macro is on point. I like the little group of Wraiths he has that could come in to play at any point, especially if, like, the Goliaths messily get caught up in a battle. You can suddenly bring in the Wraiths and really gain an advantage through that. They could also catch some drop ships, so really cool plays from JYJ in that regard.
Yeah, rallying the Wraiths there is genius, too, because it's in an area where you're not going to be able to unload. So if the Wraiths spot your drop ships, all your drop ships are going to die.
Also, you might not have any idea about the Wraiths or the count of Wraiths, because you're never going to scan right there, right? It's like the most worthless position on the map.
Now...
So,
go ahead.
Look at this line. See, Mind is pushing back again towards this area where he definitely wants to have that option of either hitting the natural, dropping into the main base. It's a very scary area to lose control of for JYJ. So I am a little bit nervous about the fact that he keeps giving up that spot.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing, Artosis, is that there's no easy gas spot. The longer this game goes on for, there's no easy new gas spot for JYJ. He's taking that mineral only because that's all he can get. He can't get into the up. So the whole curve in the top right, starting from the very 12 o'clock position into 3 o'clock, that kind of goes to Mind right now. So JYJ needs to change this. He needs to fix this, and he needs to do it pretty quickly. Because there's tanks in range of the other 3rd base, which would have been a 4th or a 5th base here for JYJ.
I need a target. I don't have a
Mind
target.
has at least vision over here. I think actually if JYJ can slip through the top, which is exactly what he's doing, he's going to be okay. He can wrap around. Really good play from JYJ.
I like it a lot as well. Those couple siege tanks in that area also, that's like kind of hard to break. Taking on this area, like his armies are fragmented a little bit, but now he has like control of the top, right? That's the other main base and natural, so that's like very valuable terrain. If he can get those bases up, Mind is just behind.
Ooh, and it rhymes too. Yeah, you're right. He is just behind. I think Mind, he seems to be a little bit more intent on like cementing his position. I think JYJ is a little bit better at running the clock and then getting more and finding that opening and going for it.
Where would you like to fall to?
Letting these waves overtake me. But if I go down, Let me read what he wrote. Adventurer, I have but a small request to ask of you. Take this note I have prepared to our great monarch of Ironforge, King Magni Bronzebeard. 'Tis a small task to ask of one such as yourself, someone who has shown great valor to the cause of the Alliance thus far. For me to go before the king in my grief-ridden state would not serve the purpose of my cause. Surely you understand.
It will take but a moment for me to peruse this letter. I do not expect good dwarves like Mrs. Baloo to understand why the travesties of war must be endured for the greater good of our people. The loss of her husband, and the loss of every dwarf that fights in the name of the Alliance, weighs heavy on my soul. While I cannot bring her husband back from the twisting nether, I can pay tribute to him. I'm going to commission a memorial to Sully Baloo to be built by Grand Mason Mabelston. Send word to him now, adventurer. You shall be custodian of my building. So King Magni Bronzebeard himself sent ye? My, this must be important. So our good king would like a memorial built in honor of a soldier named Sully Baloo, and you say the poor chap died during the Thandol Span tragedy? Bah! Will there ever be peace on Azeroth? Nonetheless, any commission from the king is of utmost importance. To build a truly epic and lasting peace, I want to work with one of the finest stones available. Travel to Darrow Hill in Hillsbrad and gather for me some Alterac granite. Wildhammer dwarves might have fast steeds, but can those airy pink griffins stand the heat of the Great Forge? I think not.
Hello everybody, this is Verdict, and thank you so much for clicking this video. Now, as the title suggests, today we're going to build our paladins. Now, I'm going to teach you really how to optimize your gear. I'm going to show you the train of thought into building a paladin in order to skip all of these unnecessary items along the way. I'm going to show you a lot of things that are going to be in big benefit to you onto really getting the ropes of how to gear a class which is entirely min-maxed from tops to bottom. And yeah, I do hope that you enjoy it, so please subscribe, like, you know the entire ordeal, and let's just get into it. Now, before we even start, I need to lay down a few ground rules and then a few laws. So the ground rules are, this guide kind of assumes that you are playing a human and that you are in World of Warcraft Classic Retail. What I mean to say by that is that all phases are unlocked, you are able to get all gear at any given time, everything is out. Everything is just purely out. So with that being said, let's get to the laws. The first and foremost, most important piece of thought that I could tell you, and don't neglect this, is your weapon dictates the way you build your paladin. That is so unbelievably true that you have no idea. We are a class that scales out of weapon damage, and our gear is enforcing that weapon damage. It just helps that weapon damage improve into different areas, whether that is spell damage or hybrid or anything. Sorry, hybrid or AP crit is what I meant to say. So with that being said, we're going to split this video in two parts. First, we're going to talk about AP crit, and then we're going to talk about hybrid. So let's talk about law number 2. Assume that whenever you theory craft or whenever you try to pick gear, you have vengeance up all the time. This is just so that you'll be able to get theory crafting much easier for you. Assume that vengeance is always there and build from there. So the third one is, you are a meme spec. I am a meme spec, and our best bet to stay in this game is to be a funny meme spec at that. So if you know what I'm talking about, congratulations. If you don't, I simply don't care enough to explain. So let's get into the AP crit. Now, obviously, we need to talk about the talents. The talents are, well, rather simple. We're going to move into the AP crit. This is the BIS pre-raid, which we can get, and talents are going to be Divine Strength with Divine Intelligence, Consecration, Unyielding Fate. Just don't underestimate.
Gives the target an enhanced spell efficiency bonus to their armor value from items for 2 minutes in addition. So it's reduced 10, so 20 minutes. So this goes down to 40 minutes instead of an hour. Oh. What? Huh.
King, last night a horrible disturbance rippled through my veins. I sensed that my granddaughter, Alyssa, was in great danger. I consulted the cards, and death stared up at me from the table. After taking a long journey through a dark trance, I was able to uncover a clue to this terrifying mystery. A name came to me, the name of Stalvin. Seek out the clerk in the town hall and see if you can find out more about this character. I fear for us all. As commander of the Night Watch, it is my sworn duty to protect the citizens of Darkshire. Stormwind has retracted their commissioned guards from their posts here, leaving us to our own devices. If you feel worthy of the task, we need your help. Assist the Night Watch
It's
by
Darkshire, you fuck.
just south of Darkshire, and slaying 8 skeletal warriors and 6 skeletal mages. The undead threat must be thwarted.
So Madame Eva sent you? Stalvin, eh? Let me check the town registry. Stalvin. Let's see. Ah, here we go. I have a record of a Mr. Stalvin Mistmantle. The last recorded address is the Moonbrook Schoolhouse. My, talk about outdated. Do me a favor, will you, friend? If you happen to go out to Moonbrook, let me know if you get any update on this fellow. I like to keep the records clean. My gnomish friend Cog has promised to help me build a device which will let me peer towards the stars. A truth exists, beyond magic, that can explain the strange transformation in the forest. Bring to me a bronze tube made by a skilled engineer. That is the first step according to Cog's blueprint.
Where would you like to fly to?
Have a good one.
Underestimate this challenge. We're going to get Redopt or Improved Devotion Honor, whatever you care for. Precision, we're going to get into Benediction maxed out, 3 pieces into Blessings of Might, or just put them anywhere you want further down the line if you don't need that for your raid. Improved Silver Crusader, obviously Judgment, the Conviction, Seal of Command, Pursuit of Justice, Sanctity Aura, 200 Weapon Specialization, and Vengeance. Pretty straightforward. So, about the gear, let's talk about really stat weights now. Early on, we're talking the base of level 60. Your strength and spell damage is going to be more valuable than crit, okay? But crit just comes with the gear naturally, so that's a really cool thing. And kind of the only time where paladins really feel the slightest touch of viability is at level 60 content. So this is what your gear really should look like. We have Eye of Rend with 8 strength, Mark of Ordering, Black Dragon Skill 3 pieces. This is with 5 fire damage, assuming that you don't have the Zandalari enchant, but if you can't have it, you know, just put 30 AP on top of it. It's better than the spell damage. You're gonna have Cape of the Black Baron, Savage Gladiator Chain with 4 stats, everybody, 4 stats. Vambraces of the Sadist with 9 strength, Gargoyle Slashers with 15, the Unstoppable Force, the first thing that you ever need to farm. With the Crusader enchant, we're going to have Black Hand's Breath, Hand of Justice, Band of Earth Might, a little tricky to get, but it just travels a long way with you. Don Julio's Band, Black Dragon Skill Boots with 7 agility, Black Dragon Skill Leggings with 8 strength, and Almoc's Girth Restrainer. Now, Libram of Hope or the other Libram from the Auction House, it's whatever you choose. If you feel like your mana is an issue, get Hope. If you're not, then get the other thing. Really straightforward. Now, this set piece is amazing because it gives you a lot of melee crit. 28% is more than enough for you to start off with. Above 800 attack power, just really, really good. It strikes me how good this gear gets. So this is how you wish to start off. Now, I've made this just because, you know, you don't want to get 100% previous. You don't want to rush a Lionheart for the sake of AP. You don't want to rush Titanic Leggings or anything like that. You don't want to get a Nightfall just because nobody would like to get a Paladin. You get the idea. A little struggle comes a long way, I know, but you can also simplify it, you know, work smart. And this is how you should look pre-raid. Now let's get into the first content phase. Now, for myself, when everything is released, I think AQ20, Black and Flare, Molten Core, Zul'Gurub, and Onyxia are all together in the same tier. Easily puggable, easily just one-shottable. So for the very first time you're going to start raiding, this is what your gear should start looking like. And I haven't done the best options because you want to skip content as much as possible. You don't want to get the best out of that place. If you can, then by all means do, if it's not going to cost you too much DKP or too much EPGP, whatever system you're using. So this is what you really kind of want to focus for. Now, you can, of course, skip into AQ40 gear, depending on where your raid is going to take you, your guild is going to take you. So, always keep things under consideration. This is a rule. Now, when you get a Shikandi, my dear friends, and I really want to emphasize on that, and also, never build Sulfurous if all phases are out. Never build Sulfurous. It's a useless weapon, it costs way too much, and a Shikandi is less than 1% better than Sulfurous, even at that. So, whenever you get an Ashkandi, strength kind of starts dropping down for AP crit, right, and crit starts picking up. And I'm going to show you why that is. I have over here an image, which is really important, that I want you to just focus yourself for a split moment on here. This is a calculation that I myself have done, and it really gives you an idea of how crit scales with your weapon. Now this is a Demon Shear stripped away from all procs, and a Zinroth stripped away from the AP, because they're both a 3.8 weapon, and one is an upgrade to the other. Now if you look at strength, DPS from 800 AP, that's kind of your strength resemblance, you're going to find out that strength remains the same, while if you have 20, let's say 9% crit like this, like what we have, then crit becomes even more valuable, as you see over here.
Perfect.
So keep that in mind. If you want to check this graph, I'll leave my Discord in the description down below.
I remember
if
a
you want
woman
to
by
take
the
your
name of
Reds
Mary who became
one
well
step
known
further,
around
then
these
please go
parts
there
for
and check
always
it out.
carrying a
But for
looking
now,
glass.
keep
Perhaps you
crit
can track
under
Mary
consideration.
down
This
and see
isn't
if
just
she
for
might
crit,
lend us
later
some
on
reflective
attack
surface
speed
for this
becomes
project.
better than
I
both
believe
crit
she
and
once
strength.
resided in
So for
southern
now,
Duskwood.
you need to have this in mind. The moment you get the Shikandi or Sulfuris, although you never should build it, it's crit all the way too. So, you want to get a Crown of Destruction, 8 Agility, an Ixia Doof Pendant, Drake Talon Pauldrons with 30 AP, Cloak of Draconic Might. I still haven't got mine until this day, could you believe that? 3 Agility, Savage Gladiator Chain, still on it, Vambracers of the Sadist with 9 Strength, Sacrificial Gauntlets from Zygor, 15 Agility, the Ashkandi, obviously, the best trinket into the game, Circle of Applied Force with Quick Strike Ring, your Abyss endgame, by the way, just saying. Abyssal Legged Striker, just so you don't have to get annoyed with the forgive me, with the Crusader leggings from Farmo, and Onslaught Girdle. I do hope you get that. So this is what you want to look like. Build is exactly the same, by the way, just letting you know. Whatever you prefer, whatever you want. So this is what you kind of want to look like in the very first tier of progression. So next one is kind of AQ40. So let's just jump into the AQ40 build, which I have for you guys. This is going to be really what you're looking at right now. AQ40 doesn't bring too much to the table. To be fair with you, AQ40 is a slight power creep over BWL and all the other tier 1 raids that we have. It just doesn't bring a lot to AP crit rate, and it's kind of the slight attack power boost. So yeah, AQ40 is not the best place for red if you're going to play AP crit. So it's Crown Destruction. The only thing that you're going to change are Mantle Book of Revenge, Cloak of the Fallen God, Fire of the Fathers, Gloves of Enforcement, or Annihilations. This is really a playstyle thing. Glove of Enforcement scale slightly better than Annihilation with full world buffs, just because that agility gives like a little bit like 0.5% crit with all the buffs, everything going on. That agility is just too precious for me. And Skill Sand Reaver leggings, boots and just like this. And yeah, this is what you kind of want to focus on. This is how you want to look in AQ40. And from AQ40 to Naxxramas, because we're going to enter Naxxramas right now, like all hell breaks loose. Like you get so much loot and so many things that you need to focus on with Naxxramas gear just because of Might of Medical being there. You get the idea. Now, let's just go into Naxxramas really quick and check things out. Now, I know many people are looking at what is he doing with this 30 oh my god. But let me explain to you people. Now, if you're gonna get, first and foremost, a Corrupted Ashbringer, which, believe it or not, has a lesser percent chance than Might of Menethil to drop, I think. If you're gonna get Corrupted Ashbringer, then kind of keep what you have over here with it and slowly work yourself towards a Might of Menethil. You don't want to gear yourself over a Corrupted Ashbringer. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's an inferior weapon to Mom. It's just better. Might of Menethil is just legit type Mom. Might of Menethil is just a lot better. So let me explain to you people. As I mentioned slightly earlier, I told you how attack speed just picks up just because Might of Menethil's weapon range is far too big to ignore. So attack speed becomes better on head and pants than the rest of the Dharma enchants, and that is factually true. Now, attack speed is not better for the hands, which is 15 agility. It's still 15 agility better, but you get the idea. For the for the Dharma enchants,